Everybody, this is Hondo Carpenter with the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast. It's great to be with you today. This is my scouting combine update number 2 here in Indianapolis. Man, there's been so much going on. Just a ton of things happening. I'm really excited to share with you a ton of information. A little bit later today, we're going to have some awesome video of Antonio Pierce that you do not want to miss. It's going to be awesome. As usual, very raw, very real. I just want to say this right up front. He talked about he knows he was hired and going to be fired. I mean, that's the nature of the NFL. When you look at Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick, guys that were forced out that, you know, makes no sense based on what they've done for the franchise. You have to assume everybody's going to get that. Sorry, that's my text. Everybody's going to get that. So, what I want to click and talk to you about though was just he was so authentic. He was so genuine, which is his nature, but he isn't afraid to be who he is. And there was an old saying, don't die a cheap copy when you can be an original. And I asked him yesterday about it. And I just said, you're very comfortable in who you are. And he talked about, that's when you're hired to get fired. And when you get fired, you still have yourself. And you got to be true to yourself. I love that. And, I'm from a guy who's from the cornfields of Laingsburg, Michigan. And he's a guy from Compton, the inner city of Compton. And we may be different colors. We may be from different parts of the world, but I can relate to genuine people. I enjoy genuine people. I don't care where you're from on the planet. I don't care about if our politics are different. I don't care if we're different socioeconomic backgrounds. That stuff doesn't matter to me. I could care less. I don't care if you're whatever. Maybe you're an atheist. I'm a person of faith. To me, just be genuine. Just be who you are. I respect people like that a lot. I like people like that a lot. And I'm not saying he and I are different on tons of things. We're not. We have a very good relationship. Um, but there are some things that are different. The cornfields of Laingsburg, Michigan are a long way from Compton. But it doesn't mean that either one of us, just because we come from different places, can't be genuine. I have learned in my life, and maybe because I'm old, I'm 52 now, fixing to be 53 here pretty quick. And maybe I've just learned with age that I don't have to agree with everybody on everything. But I love how authentic he is. So many times you see guys finally become head coaches and they get buttoned up. And it's just pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful. And it's sad because they're not that way. Deep down, this is a really good guy. But man, he feels like he has to play the part. I like that about AP. Tom Telesco said something the other day, and I asked AP about a little bit how surprised he was with how many players are at the building every single day. I can tell you, I've been around a lot of NFL teams. When season's over and they're not going, players are gone. They don't want to be around. That's not the way it is with the Raiders. Yesterday, he talked about, you can go in any day and see 17 to 25 guys. He goes, it's because they built a family. They feel like there's unfinished business. I agree with him. And I think he may have that number 17 to 25 a little bit lower because I mentioned to one of the players him saying that, and he goes, oh, the number's higher. So either way, and they weren't calling AP a liar. They're just that's what's going on. That's really important. He talked about another thing that I wanted to address with you. You may remember Jack Jones tweets out when fans are asking him to recruit free agents. No, I believe in the guys in this building. And I told him, how cool is that? And he talked about Jack had been through some tough things. And so he gets to the Raiders, and these guys loved him before he did anything on the football field, they loved him. And he's loyal. I love that. Loyalty is the most important thing. I heard a man one time say, if you cheat on me, if you cheat with my wife, I'm not going to like that. But if you come and repent, I can probably forgive you. If you steal money from me, you can pay me back. He said, but the unpardonable sin in life, and I'm not saying this is the unpardonable sin, but he said the unpardonable sin was never be disloyal to me. When somebody experiences disloyalty, and I just think it's a testimony to Jack. I think it's a testimony to this team, the way they built it. Do they need free agents? Yes. Do they need to go draft some players and improve some spots in the roster? Yes. But he talked about that's Jack. Once you're part of his group, once you're part of his team, I would use the term tribe, but whatever. Once you're in it, you're in it. And he's loyal to you. But I thought AP yesterday, and again, I'm going to put the video up for you, but was absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Now, I've never thought he was bad. And I think every time he talks, it's better for the Raiders. I know there are Raider fans that, just quit talking. No, I think it's good for the Raiders. And I'm going to tell you why. Yesterday, defensive lineman talked. And you would have been, well, if you've read any of our articles or saw the videos, we put tons of video up about players talking about Max Crosby, players talking about AP. I have been to numerous combines for years, long before I covered the Raiders. And I can tell you, I've never heard the Raiders more prominently on the lips of prospects, agents, anything. I literally had an agent the other day, yesterday, excuse me, stop me. I was at a hotel to meet with somebody, and he stopped me in the hallway. He said, "Hey, Hondo, you should write about my guy." And I said, well, if I thought he was on the Raiders' radar, I would. He's like, he wants to be on the Raiders' radar. He wants to play for AP. And I don't have any reason to believe the Raiders are interested in him, but I still found that to be funny. AP has people's attention now, and they're paying attention. I want to get to another issue that I think is really important for us to discuss. I think it's important for us to dig into and really disseminate and to talk about. And that was the AP talked about the quarterback position yesterday. And he said a couple things that I thought were really powerful. Number one, Aiden O'Connell. He said, that's our guy. Whether we go get a veteran, whether we go get a rookie, they have to beat him. And there's a lot of attitude, I think, from people who just think Aiden's a throwaway. Now, I've said this numerous times, and every time there's somebody not listening. So for all of you in the back, please hear me. I am not saying Aiden O'Connell is QB1 for the next 20 years or next 15 years or 10 years for the Raiders. We've not seen enough to determine that. I'm also going to tell you, I don't think we've seen enough to say he isn't. I think you go get a veteran and you go get a rookie and let everybody compete it out, which is what AP essentially said was going to happen. He didn't say it that way. We're going to get a veteran rookie. He just said we're going to get some guys and let them compete it out. But they got to beat Aiden. This team believes in Aiden. You may not, and you may be right. Nobody's saying that you're wrong. But they believe in him. And as soon as the season's over, AP's in the building every day. Aiden O'Connell's in the building every day. He's working hard. He's working hard. And I'm going to tell you a couple other guys I want you to keep an eye on. And but Malcolm Koonce and Tyree Wilson are at a different level. Since this season's over, those guys have they were really riding a wave of success as the season ended. And then Then the season ended and the trajectory's gone like this to this. I'm just hearing some great things from the locker room. Some great things from the locker room on those guys. And when I say the locker room, I'm referring to guys who are in the locker room. I'm not necessarily saying I'm hearing it from them in the locker room, just hearing some things about them and about what they're doing. And, Tyree, this was a tough year for Tyree. He was injured most of the year, even though we reported it. And you can go back and watch the podcast from the um, um, draft last year. We reported that he wasn't going to be healthy for a while. He took a lot of heat, but that slide to the inside, man. Oh. And I'm going to tell you, go back and watch the Giants Super Bowl when they beat an undefeated Brady. Go back and watch that. Watch Tuck. Just watch it. Tell me who you think Tuck reminds you of on the Raiders right now. Just a little scoop right there. Go do that. And I think you're going to see some things. So the Raiders are in a really great spot financially with salary cap. They're in a great spot with their draft pick. Again, I keep reiterating this. Could the Raiders move up? Yes. But to move up, to be sure you're going to get the guy, and let's just, for all intents and purposes, use Jayden Daniels because we know that AP has a relationship with him, because we know that AP, he was there for the Raiders last game, and there's relationship there. So I'm using him, but it could be Caleb, it could be Drake, whomever. If you're in love with all three, then you're willing to go up and pick 1, 2, or 3. If you're not willing to do that, to pay that price, then do you move up to get JJ McCarthy? Do you stay at 13? What do you do? Now, I'm going to tell you those are all things that are going through the mind, and no decision's been made yet. Okay, I want to address a couple other things that I'm hearing, and I'm hearing it from people completely in the know who are extremely reliable. They're not reliable because I just met them. They're people that I've known for years who have been reliable over a long time, and I trust their track record. There is no chance Jayden Daniels gets past 3. No chance. At this point, maybe he has a bad interview or has a terrible pro day. You never know. Anything can happen. Something can be discovered. But as of this moment, he will not get past New England. They really like him a lot. I believe, based on what I know today, that the Washington Commanders will take Caleb or Jayden. And based on what I know today, with the Bears, I think they are going to pick, and it's probably going to be Caleb Williams. So there, if you're the Raiders and you have that information and you know it and it's accurate, then okay, if I want Jayden, then I probably have to go to 1. Because I've told you before, I don't see Washington trading. I just don't see it. They're going to hold steady. If they do anything, they would probably move to 1 to make sure it was Caleb. Then they could switch with Chicago and take Jayden if they want Jayden. But right now, I think it would be, if it goes according to, there's a term when you play cards called Hole or Hoyle. Some people call it Hoyle. I'm trying to pronounce it better. Hoyle. But according to Hole, I think Caleb goes 1, Jayden goes 2. But I don't see Jayden slipping past 3 at all. So I think at this moment, New England has made the commitment. We're going to draft a quarterback. I think they're a little bit more potential to trade, but I think they're pretty solid. They're going to pick a quarterback. Again, just based on some things that I know. Second of all, Commanders. I don't think they're moving. And then, of course, the Bears. So you're going to have to move to one, which is going to be 3 2s, 3 1s. That's just the cost. But AP said something yesterday that I thought was very fascinating. He talked about we want to get the position settled and go, stick with it. Now, some people took those comments to mean he'd given up on Aiden. And I can tell you, and you're going to see this in the video that I post, that's not accurate. He's not giving up on Aiden at all. It's just he's ready to, hey, let's get on this. Let's find somebody permanent. I don't want to keep at the most important position in football. I don't want to keep wondering. So I think it's going to be fascinating. And watching these next few months before the draft, if you're a Raider fan, we are going to have so much quarterback coverage for you because there's a lot of really interesting things to talk about. But there's going to be a ton of, what's there. Now, if I had to pick today, and remember my next mock draft will come out on Monday. If I had to say today, I would think that the Raiders, if they got a quarterback in this draft, is probably going to be JJ McCarthy. Now, I've been telling you for weeks that there are multiple good drafting guys in the NFL who've told me that they think JJ is one of the best, if not the best. I know a couple of teams that think he's the best quarterback in this market. I don't know. I'm not as good as some of them, so my opinion is irrelevant. But I know that there's a lot of faith in JJ McCarthy. I don't think JJ will slip to 13. I mean, he could go 4, he could go 3, could go 2 or 1. I don't know. But a lot of teams have a lot of high grades on him. And then when you throw in Spencer Rattler, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix, I mean, you could potentially, and I'm not reporting this, but talking to people, you could, because so many teams are desperate for a quarterback because they don't know how to draft them or because they're bad teams. You could see 7 quarterbacks go. I don't think that happens, but I'm telling you, there are enough teams in love with enough guys that they may get desperate. They may get scared and say, hey, I got to get a quarterback. And come hell or high water, I got to get somebody. Again, I think there's a bunch of those guys that the people I trust don't have first round grades on. And so I read you a text the other day from an executive, NFL executive, who gave me his thoughts on Bo Nix. I had people saying to me, oh, this isn't going to age well. I didn't say it. I read to you what a guy said who gets paid a lot of money to do this. I've told you, I've watched Bo Nix. Looks good. I'm only regurgitating to you the information that I've ascertained from people who are experts in this field. I had dinner last night with somebody who's a quarterback expert who gave me a lot of great information. Somebody made a lot of money in the NFL talking quarterback and just really picked their brain about guys and what do you like about this one? What don't you like about that one? And trying to check everything out. But here's the deal with the Raiders. They're in great shape. 13, they're going to get they're going to get a shot at a great player. So we talked yesterday with a Alabama player who really had a lot to say about AP and the Raiders. You can check that article out. But we're going to be talking today with Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold. Now, these are 2 guys that are considered the top 1 to 3 corners. Some places have Kool-Aid 1, some places have Terrion Arnold 1, and some places have the kid from Iowa at 1. I think he's from Iowa. But those are the 2 that's on everybody's list, is somewhere 1 to 3. And they're going to both be talking today. And I know the Raiders are spending a ton of time looking at both those guys. So we're going to be asking them, You may also remember the other day I told you a source told me Terrion Arnold ran a 4.3 at his at his private workout. So we're going to ask him, hey, we were told by a private source you ran a 4.3. Is that accurate? So we're really looking forward to talking to these guys. We're going to have articles up. We're going to have the videos of us talking to them so you can hear them talking about Raiders. I will just say this to you. I mentioned last night having dinner with a quarterback guy, and his exact words to me, and he's been active in the league for man, over 20 years. But he said to me last night at dinner, he goes, at no time in all my time in the league have I seen the Raiders in such a good place. And he's not a Raider. I thought that was powerful. I thought that was really, really powerful. I talked to another guy, a general manager, who said to me, man, it just feels like the Raiders are primed, ready to go now. And Dave Ziegler's did a great job with that salary cap. Saw Dave yesterday, by the way. Looks great, doing great. But they're headed. The foundation has been laid. And I'm just really interested to watch where this goes. There's a lot of buzz about the Raiders here at the Combine. And so if you're a Raider fan, that's a big deal for you. At least it should be. Because your team now is starting to do things right. They're not in salary cap hell. They're in great financial shape. There's a bunch of talent on this team. You've got the coach. And by the way, a lot of you asking me to comment on some comments made by Michael Lombardi on a podcast about AP. Oh, I'm going to. Not at the Combine. Now's not the time. We're going to keep this Combine. But Monday, let's party. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. So what I would suggest to you is I think there's a lot of great information coming. We're trying to pump it out to you as fast. I think yesterday we did 14 articles. We had so many players talking Raiders where you can actually hear it. But the mood of the Combine is the Raiders are in great shape. The Raiders are financially healthy, personnel healthy, managerially healthy. There just seems to be a moving in the right direction. You know, last year at the Combine, I began to see some divides with Dave and Josh. Not they didn't hate each other. I'm not implying that. But I mean, I knew Dave was looking to CJ Stroud, and I knew that Josh wanted Bryce Young. Okay. You knew there were things that they disagreed on. I've written about that before. Every time I've been here, you knew. I'm trying to use the right verbiage, but you just knew, like when John and Mayock did it. Okay, you knew this is John's show and Mayock's, and you just kind of knew how it worked. Now it just seems like the Raiders are all on the same team. They think the same, they act the same. Their mindset is the same. Everybody's on board. And I mean, it reminds me back to the Tower of Babel. If one people can speak one voice, one vision, one goal, bam, you use nothing you can't accomplish. Not preaching at you, but I think it's Proverbs 13:17 in the Living Bible says, talks about reliable communication permits progress. We know that two people can't walk together unless they be in agreement. I mean, there is power in synergy. There's power in being on the same page. I asked AP about this yesterday, and I'm going to end with this, but I mentioned to you a couple of days ago how when a person in political authority picks a running mate, of either party, because both do it, do they pick somebody to try to get votes, or do they pick somebody for governance? Meaning, if something happens to me, this person is going to be a great president. I've always respected people of either party who pick a vice president not for what votes they're going to get me, but are they capable of being a great president? Are they capable of governing? Are they going to help me as a president, to show me if they think I'm making an error? And I mentioned that to AP yesterday, and talked about his staff and the staff he's put together. And he talked about, I don't know why people think it's a bad thing. I got Philbin and Marvin and Tom Coughlin a phone call away. I don't know why people think it was wrong. I wanted to hire people who think differently than me. It makes us stronger. I mean, this is a coach that wants somebody to say, Coach, I love you. You're the boss. I'm going to do whatever you want when we walk outside that door. But man, I think you're wrong. And he craves it. It tells you something. That's character. And so keep an eye on that. Watch for that video. You're going to see it today. I would venture to say it's probably going to drop about noon Eastern. We're in the Eastern time zone right now. It's going to be about noon Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific. But make sure you watch that video with Antonio Pierce. But a lot of great things happening. Again, we're talking to Kool-Aid today. We're talking to Terry and a bunch of others. We got Aiden Champion here, one of our senior writers. Carter Landis is here, one of our terrific writers, been with us now 13 months. He's great. And Braden Reedy's here, a young man that's really done a great job here. Some great interviews, some great articles. He's been writing for us. I'm going to guess probably 6-7 months. I think he started June. And but he's coming along and he's doing a great job as well. We're going to have just tons of articles. SI.com/NFL/Raiders. Find me on IG, Hondo SR, and you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Hondo Carpenter. Remember, SI.com/NFL/Raiders. While you're there, click on the upper right corner, and that is a newsletter icon. Sign up. We don't sell your information and we don't spam you. 3 days a week, we send you an email with our top stories. You'll never miss anything again. I plead with you to get that, because a lot of people are like, Hondo, I heard you talked about this, but I get so many of them, I just can't answer them all. This email, quick, clear inbox, you can look through, read. Okay, boom, delete, don't need it. Boom, read. Oh, didn't read that. Oh, didn't read that. Okay, I'll go read those too. Then delete. Great way to keep up all the Raiders information that you want, 100% free. I told our staff this, and I want you to hear me. Our job is to be your eyes and ears here, to bring you all the best information. I hope we're doing that. I hope you're happy with it. We're going to have a lot of great stuff up today. Again, we're going to have the article. The interview with AP, all the video for you to watch, all of it. Just going to put it out there for you. Except my last question. I'm saving my last question. Not going to be on the video. You're going to see that later on down the road. But just one question we're leaving out, but everything but that. Tom Telesco from the podium was really good. We're going to have all that for you. So tons of great information today. SI.com/NFL/Raiders. Thank you for being with us. Again, we're growing so fast. I want to personally thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. We're bringing you all this information completely free because you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. Please continue to do that. Tell your friends about us if you would, please. But we're grateful for you. Hope you guys have a great day. I got to get to work. Interviews are about to start here in a minute. God bless you all.